Yesterday was Windows Phone Day in San Francisco. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I've been working with the HTC Windows Phone 8X for a couple of days, actually since last week when HTC sent it over. But yesterday at the event, we got the AT&T branded version, which brings LTE to the device itself. It's time for a full review, and it starts right now. Part 2 of a review video of the HTC Windows Phone 8X coming to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile in the next couple of months, at least by the holiday season, sometime during the holiday season, because technically the holiday season's already kicked off right now, at least in terms of deals, although arguably it'll probably kick off even more as Thanksgiving rolls around, Black Friday, that kind of period between Black Friday and Christmas. But coming soon to 3 different carriers, it's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 4.3-inch HD display, 720p HD, an 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, 1,800 milliamp hour non-removable battery, Beats Audio, Windows Phone 8, and it's a really nice svelte device from HTC. This joins a couple of different Windows Phone devices that are going to be available around launch time. This, the 8X, its little brother, the 8S, by HTC, the Lumia 920, the Lumia 820, a couple of variants of Lumias, and then you have the Samsung Ativ S and Ativ Odyssey, with a variant of which is coming to Verizon. So like I said in part 1, a bunch of AT&T stuff pre-installed. This is the AT&T version. You've got LTE connectivity on this as well, so you can take advantage of AT&T's 4G LTE if you're in a market that supports it. But a lot of different customization things. If you haven't already, check out part 1 because I covered a lot of those. And before we get too far into part 2, I'd like to give special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the 8X, Galaxy Note 2, the iPhone, and more for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working the, help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your settings. So when you walk out the door, you are good to go at Best Buy Mobile. So let's take a look at this 8X. Here we go into Microsoft Store. Rebranded version of Microsoft Store. At the press event yesterday in San Francisco, Microsoft said that they had reached the 120,000 applications mark. So 120,000 apps. It's getting up there, not quite up to par with iOS and with Android, both of which are kind of hovering around that 700,000 applications mark. But you do have quite a few applications here. HTC stuff out of the gate, which they're referring to kind of HTC Hub now as just HTC. So you've got this, and you get the latest weather, stock quotes, and news. This is already installed on the 8X, but you've got connection set up as well, which is installed. Flashlight, photo enhancer, and converter, all of which are out of the gate. Then you have AT&T featured applications here as part of a carrier-branded, sort of a carrier-branded store within a store, if you will. And then, for example, Twitter, apps, games, music, and more, all from this area. So let's take a look, for example, at, let's do Twitter, and let's see what comes up out of the gate. We'll roll up like Tweetcaster, even though I've already installed Tweetcaster. But let's just say, actually let's do Rowie, for example. And you can see reviews, see screenshots, and you'll notice the text kind of falls off the side of the display. You can scroll over to access those pretty easily. See screenshots, you can try it or buy it, and then you have the option to share it as well. Down there at the bottom, the details about it, and more. I can try or buy and easily access it. So Microsoft Store, definitely easy to use. Music titles, I find it to be relatively decent, not the best in the world in comparison to a very solid ecosystem that is iTunes. But that said, it's not bad. And let's put in, let's say Luke Bryan. Put in Luke Bryan, see what comes up. And you can bring in your music, Tailgates and Tan Lines, for example, song. And I've got Kiss Tomorrow, one of my favorite songs, right here. I can get an Xbox Music Pass and stream unlimited music, or I can download that individually or buy the CD. So a lot of different options there when it comes to music. And again, there are easy ways to get your iTunes music now over onto your Windows Phone 8 device using a Mac connector. So keep that in mind if you are, really heavily invested in the iTunes ecosystem and you're looking to move over to Windows Phone. There is a pretty easy method in which to do so. But I find that a lot of these applications, Twitter, Foursquare, MyATT, they work relatively well on Windows Phone 8. But one thing I really enjoy is a full copy of Microsoft Office. So out of the gate, you get phone, email, and Word, PowerPoint, and Excel out of the gate, so you can access those, and you can start a new document if you want to, and easily access it. Now, what I like about this is using SkyDrive. Let's say you start a document on Word on your computer, well, you can pick it right up where you left off on your Windows Phone 8 device. So Microsoft is very clearly trying to build the ecosystem that they have, that Android has, that iOS has to a lesser extent, but especially what Android has when it comes to Google Drive, when it comes to Gmail accounts, Google Voice, and more. They're trying to build that kind of similar ecosystem with SkyDrive, with the Office applications. And so far so good. The thing is, quite a few things aren't available just yet in terms of what's available from cross carriers or from cross devices and more. I know that didn't make a whole lot of sense what I'm trying to say. Let me rephrase that, and we'll start all over again. With Office, SkyDrive, you'll just notice that there aren't as many people on it. So if you're somebody like me that's really heavily invested in iTunes or really heavily invested in Android because of the Gmail support and because of the Google Voice support, it's going to be a little bit harder to transition over to this. That said, if you get over to SkyDrive or you're already on SkyDrive or you're invested in that, this is going to be a great alternative for you. And now the People Hub, let's talk about it as well. I'm kind of jumping back and forth between some of the new features. We've seen this before, what's new, where the Twitter account's integrated in here. But then this is a little bit new. The Family Room is new to Windows 8, Windows Phone 8, and you can invite somebody in. So if y'all have Windows phones, let's say brother, sister, and mom have Windows Phone, well, they can start at what's called a family room, and from there, you can share calendars, photos, well, actually it says right here, calendars, photos, group chat, and notes, all from one room. So you do get some cross-carrier, cross-OS compatibility here with iOS, for example, or with Android quite a few times. If you have a calendar, for example, and you're sharing it with somebody that has an iPhone or Android device, as we saw in the press conference yesterday, you can get some of those calendar things to appear, but certain things will only work on Windows Phone 8. So it's definitely one of those things where, and I like the way that they're doing this. It's like, hey, you know what, you can get some of the features on iOS and some of the features on Android, but if you want the full effect, you got to go with Windows Phone 8. Let's take a look at the camera. 8 megapixel camera here with 1080p HD video recording. Let's bring over the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. We're over here and take a look at the Samsung logo right here. And you see 8 megapixel camera, really a solid image right there. And of course we could focus in, half press to focus, full press to take a picture. Love the physical camera button. And then video front, flash, and lenses. So you can switch lenses out if you want to, find more lenses through Bing. And let's just take a look at this. Bing Vision, for example. And let's access this. So you can scan barcodes, QR codes, tags, books, CDs, or more. I can back out of that when I'm done, but that kind of compatibility with the search engine is really nice out of the gate. And then of course I have video, 1080p HD video recording. I've got some photo settings as well. I can up the resolution if I want to 8 megapixels. And you can see 8 megapixels right there. And I can take it. And I love the easy access from the gallery to the camera, or at least live to the camera. So I can come in here. Let's go back to 6 megapixels. That was good enough. And I can keep taking pictures. And it has a relatively fast shutter, and then when I'm done, I can just scroll right back and take a look at those pictures that I took. Very clear, and then of course I can scroll right back out and scroll through and see some of the different pictures that I've taken on this particular 8X device. So a decent camera, 1080p HD video recording is going to be impressive for those people that enjoy shooting video on the fly. And of course you have the front-facing camera, and thanks to Microsoft's purchase of Skype, excuse me, clearly it has been a long day, and clearly there's been a lot of travel. Thanks to Microsoft's purchase of Skype, you have nice access, and according to the press conference coming soon, you'll have better compatibility with Windows Phone 8 and Skype. That is, you'll have Skype running in the background, more integration with the phone itself, which I'm sure we'll hear more about in the coming weeks and coming months. So we'll take a look at that when it comes out. But all in all, Windows Phone 8, it's one of those things. They've definitely made some huge improvements from 7 and 7.5 up to 8. The interface is incredibly clean. It's incredibly beautiful. Still a little frustrated with the multitasking, just the overall way that it looks, how you have to press the back button. But overall, really a well-done job here with the HTC 8X and with Windows Phone 8. That said, iOS and Android, definitely more mature operating systems and more mature ecosystems as a whole. So if you're somebody like me that's very much an ecosystem person, you're integrated into Gmail or you're integrated into iTunes, this may be more of a hard switch for you because you're moving to something completely new that, yes, they're building an ecosystem with Xbox, with SkyDrive, and with all of those different Microsoft products, but that said, they're not quite up to par, at least not quite to the point that iOS and Android is just yet. That said, huge improvements here, and I think they're going to combine this with competitive price points this holiday season, solid devices, and really a nice ecosystem, or really a nice overall user interface, rather, to make people want to buy this device out of the gate in comparison to iOS and Android. It's going to be a busy, tough holiday season when it comes to iOS versus Windows Phone versus Android, but this is going to be a great option. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage. And in the meantime, be sure to follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Hit us up on PhoneDog as well, Facebook.com/PhoneDog, and on the site at PhoneDog.com. Let me know what you think of this device and of Windows 8 as a whole. Thanks so much for watching. More to come on the HTC Windows Phone 8X on PhoneDog.com. We'll see you next time.